Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing that every decision you make, every habit you form, and every challenge you face could be guided by wisdom that is timeless, pure, and practical. That ancient wisdom belongs to Aristotle, the philosopher whose insights into virtue, balance, and excellence have shaped the foundations of leadership, success, and personal growth. Yet most people think Aristotle is only for scholars, a dusty relic on a shelf. The truth is, his philosophy is the missing operating system for your modern life. His principles are not just ideas. They are practical strategies that can transform your mindset, sharpen your decision-making, and turn ordinary routines into extraordinary breakthroughs. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to apply these ancient principles in your life today, so you can not just achieve success, but do it with balance, discipline, and lasting impact. Stay with me, because the journey from average to exceptional starts with a single deliberate step: mastering Aristotelian action. When we hear the word virtue, many of us picture a dusty concept from a philosophy class, something abstract, unattainable, or even boring. But for Aristotle, virtue wasn't a vague idea. It was a practical guide to life, a compass that points directly toward success, fulfillment, and leadership. Virtue, he taught, is about balance, about finding the middle ground between extremes. That's about knowing not just what is right, but how to act correctly in every situation. In today's world, this seems harder than ever. We are bombarded with endless choices: career paths, investments, personal habits, relationships, and every decision carries a consequence. One wrong move and we risk wasted time, lost opportunities, or even burnout. Aristotle's wisdom offers a solution, a way to navigate these choices with clarity and excellence. Think about a modern leader, a CEO, a startup founder, or even someone managing a small team. What makes them exceptional? It's not just intelligence or ambition. It's discipline, consistency, and ethical judgment. Aristotle called this phronesis, practical wisdom. It's the ability to apply moral insight to real-life situations. Leaders who embody virtue don't just react. They respond thoughtfully, strategically, and with balance. They know when to push forward and when to pause. They know when to take risks and when to hold firm. But how does this translate to your life? Let's start with personal growth. Aristotle taught that virtues are not innate. They are developed through practice and habit. Excellence isn't an accident. It's a pattern of consistent, intentional actions. Imagine dedicating yourself to small, deliberate choices each day, whether it's choosing integrity over convenience, focus over distraction, or generosity over selfishness. Each act, no matter how small, compounds into transformation. Consider decision-making. Modern life is filled with constant noise, emails, notifications, social media, and pressure to perform. Without a guiding framework, it's easy to feel lost or worse, trapped by reactive impulses. Aristotle's approach gives us that framework. By embracing virtue as a compass, you can make decisions that align with long-term goals, leadership values, and personal excellence. You stop being controlled by the moment and start directing your life with clarity, strategy, and purpose. Balance is another pillar of Aristotle's philosophy, and it's particularly relevant today. Think about productivity. Too many people push themselves to extremes, thinking burnout equals commitment. But Aristotle's principle of the golden mean reminds us that true excellence is a balance between deficiency and excess. Overworking yourself is as detrimental as underperforming. The key is to find the rhythm that fosters sustainable growth while protecting your energy, focus, and mental clarity. Let's tie this to a concrete example. Imagine an entrepreneur navigating a high-stakes negotiation. One extreme might be ruthless ambition, pressuring others for every last advantage. The other extreme could be passive compliance, letting opportunities slip away to avoid conflict. The virtuous path, Aristotle would argue, is strategic assertiveness, negotiating firmly, ethically, and with respect for others. The result? Trust, long-term partnerships, and consistent success. That's virtue in action, not theory. Even in personal habits, Aristotle's principles apply. Discipline, for instance, is a virtue cultivated through repetition. It's waking up early to invest in yourself, prioritizing deep work over distractions, and saying no to what doesn't serve your growth. These small acts, repeated consistently, form a foundation for breakthrough results in every area of life, from health to career to relationships. And here's a subtle but critical insight. Aristotle teaches that virtue is dynamic. It's not rigid. What's balanced for one person may be different for another, depending on circumstances, goals, and responsibilities. This requires self-awareness and reflection, skills that are essential for modern leaders. The more you understand yourself, the better you can navigate complexity, seize opportunities, and cultivate excellence in a world full of uncertainty. So in essence, Aristotle's concept of virtue is not an ancient relic. It's a modern playbook. It's about aligning your mindset, habits, and actions with principles that generate lasting success, ethical leadership, and personal transformation. It's about knowing your values, acting consistently, and choosing the path that leads to fulfillment rather than fleeting satisfaction. And here's the exciting part. This is just the beginning. Understanding virtue sets the stage, but applying it amidst today's challenges requires strategy, courage, and persistence. In the next chapter, we'll explore the modern challenges that make virtue harder to practice, but even more essential for success and leadership. Stay with me, because understanding these challenges is the first step toward turning Aristotle's wisdom into real, actionable transformation. We live in a world that glorifies speed, multitasking, and constant output. Notifications ping relentlessly. Deadlines pile up. Choices multiply endlessly. In this chaos, it's easy to feel lost, or worse, to drift through life reacting rather than leading. Aristotle understood this centuries ago in his own context, but today the stakes are higher, and the distractions are more seductive. Modern challenges come in many forms. Take decision-making, for example. In the age of information overload, it's tempting to chase every opportunity, to react impulsively, or to defer choices out of fear of making the wrong move. But indecision, or rushed, uninformed decisions, can cost you time, money, and credibility. Aristotle's wisdom on deliberate action becomes essential. He teaches us that clarity and balance are not luxuries. They are survival tools in a world that overwhelms our minds and tests our character. Consider the pressure to perform and achieve. Society measures success by speed, productivity, and visible outcomes. But chasing results without grounding in virtue leads to stress, burnout, and ethical compromises. Leaders today often struggle between ambition and integrity. Do you push hard at all costs, risking relationships and long-term trust? Or do you temper your drive, potentially losing opportunities? Aristotle's teachings on the golden mean, the balance between excess and deficiency, provide the answer. They remind us that sustainable success demands ethics, discipline, and measured action. Even habits, those small everyday decisions, become modern battlegrounds. The temptation of shortcuts, quick fixes, passive consumption, or distractions can erode discipline over time. Virtue, Aristotle argues, is built gradually through consistent practice. Modern life tests this daily. Without intentional focus, productivity becomes chaotic. Instead of building, you're spinning in circles. But those who apply Aristotle's principles, self-awareness, reflection, and intentional choice, create systems that turn small actions into exponential breakthroughs. Relationships, too, are tested by the modern pace. Leadership is not just about strategy. It's about people. How do you balance honesty with diplomacy, assertiveness with empathy? Aristotle's virtues guide leaders to act ethically while making tough decisions. Without these principles, even the most talented leaders risk alienation, miscommunication, or failure. With them, you inspire loyalty, trust, and excellence. Let's talk about emotional challenges, something often overlooked. Modern life pushes our patience, focus, and resilience to the limit. Anxiety, distraction, and frustration are constants. Aristotle's philosophy is a roadmap for emotional mastery. Virtue teaches us to cultivate self-control, courage, and wisdom. These are not abstract qualities. They are practical tools for navigating stress, seizing opportunity and maintaining composure when stakes are high. The truth is, the modern world magnifies the gap between knowledge and action. Many people know what they should do: wake up early, invest in learning, build meaningful connections, but knowing isn't enough. Without the consistent practice of virtue, insight remains theoretical. Aristotle's brilliance was showing that action grounded in principle, not convenience or emotion, produces real transformation. Consider the modern professional juggling a demanding career, family obligations, and personal growth. Every day presents conflicting priorities. Should you work late to secure a deal, or leave early to nurture relationships? Should you accept a lucrative but ethically ambiguous opportunity, or wait for something aligned with your values? These are not simple decisions. They are crucibles of character. Aristotle's framework equips you to navigate them with clarity, courage, and strategic balance, ensuring that each choice builds toward long-term success rather than short-term gratification. Even in the era of digital disruption, where AI, automation, and globalization reshape careers, Aristotle's insights remain relevant. Leadership today is not just about intelligence, it's about virtue-driven influence. Those who succeed are not just strategic thinkers. They embody discipline, integrity, and foresight. They make decisions that respect balance, ethical responsibility, and the broader consequences of their actions. This is why Aristotle's philosophy is more essential now than ever. But here's the critical insight: awareness alone is not enough. Understanding these challenges sets the stage, but overcoming them demands practical strategies and consistent habits rooted in virtue. It's about translating philosophy into action, turning awareness into mastery. And that's exactly what we'll explore in the next chapter: how to take these timeless principles and apply them to your daily life, creating visible breakthroughs and sustainable growth. Understanding Aristotle's wisdom is one thing. Applying it is another. The bridge between knowledge and transformation is action. Today we'll explore concrete steps you can take to turn Aristotle's ancient principles into modern breakthroughs. Habits, routines, and decisions that build discipline, balance, and lasting success. Aristotle famously said that we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, therefore, is not a single act. It is a habitual pattern of virtuous behavior. The first practical step is to identify your core values. What matters most to you? Integrity, discipline, leadership, productivity, personal growth. Once you define them, every choice you make can be filtered through this lens, ensuring that your actions are aligned with your long-term goals. This simple practice immediately improves decision-making and cultivates a mindset of purpose. Next, focus on small, consistent actions. Aristotle emphasized the power of repetition. Modern life tempts us to chase dramatic results, overnight success, viral moments, or radical change, but real transformation comes from incremental improvements. Start with micro habits: waking up early, journaling your priorities, dedicating 1 hour daily to deep work, or practicing deliberate reflection each evening. These may seem small, but when compounded over weeks and months, they create visible breakthroughs in productivity. Focus, hand leadership presence. Another practical principle is the deliberate practice of virtue in decision-making. Aristotle taught that moral excellence is cultivated by consciously choosing the right action in everyday situations. Apply this today by pausing before major decisions. Consider not just efficiency or gain, but balance, ethics, and long-term impact. For instance, when negotiating, don't just aim for short-term wins. Focus on building trust, fairness, and sustainable partnerships. This is the difference between reactive choice and strategic leadership. Reflection is another actionable tool. Aristotle believed that wisdom grows from examining your own actions and outcomes. At the end of each day, ask yourself, did my actions align with my values? Where did I act with discipline and balance? Where could I improve? Over time, this reflective habit fine-tunes your judgment, enhances your mindset, and strengthens your ability to seize opportunities with clarity and confidence. One of the most overlooked but powerful applications is emotional mastery. Virtue isn't just intellectual, it's emotional. Modern stress, distraction, and impatience can derail even the most disciplined plans. Aristotle's method encourages awareness and regulation of emotion. Practice patience, courage, and temperance in high-pressure situations. This emotional balance translates directly into better leadership, smarter decision-making, and sustainable success. Let's also talk about environment design, an often underestimated tool for applying Aristotle's wisdom. Surround yourself with people, resources, and spaces that support growth, virtue, and productivity. Remove distractions that lead to excess or moral compromise. Create routines that naturally guide your behavior toward excellence. Aristotle knew that context shapes character, and today your environment can either reinforce virtue or sabotage it. Here's a practical example. An aspiring executive wants to improve leadership skills. Start small. Commit to one intentional action daily, such as giving constructive feedback, mentoring a colleague, or actively listening in meetings. Over time, these actions compound, strengthening confidence, trust, and influence. Aristotle's insight: virtue is cultivated not in theory, but in repeated practice of the right actions. And here's a crucial mindset shift. Failure is part of the process. Aristotle emphasized that errors are opportunities to refine judgment and build resilience. Each setback is feedback, each challenge a chance to practice balance and strategic thinking. By embracing this perspective, you transform obstacles into accelerators for growth and transformation. But this is just the start. Here's how to take it further. These foundational actions create momentum, but true mastery comes from integrating virtue into leadership, decision-making, and long-term strategy. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to apply Aristotle's principles at the highest levels, in business, career, and influence, turning disciplined habits into strategic power. Leadership is not a title. It's a practice, a set of decisions, and a daily commitment to excellence. Aristotle's teachings on virtue, balance, and practical wisdom are the ultimate blueprint for modern leaders who want not just to succeed, but to inspire, influence, and leave a legacy. In today's high-stakes environment, leaders face complex challenges. Every decision can affect teams, clients, and long-term strategy. The pressure to act fast is immense, but speed without wisdom is dangerous. Aristotle's principle of the golden mean provides guidance. The right action is often between extremes, balancing boldness with caution, ambition with ethics, and productivity with reflection. Leaders who embrace this approach make strategic decisions that maximize opportunity while minimizing unnecessary risk. Take the modern executive negotiating a major deal. One extreme is aggression, pushing relentlessly for maximum gain without regard for relationships. The other extreme is passivity, settling too easily or avoiding conflict entirely. Aristotle's framework teaches strategic assertiveness. Pursue your goals with confidence, but always guided by virtue, integrity, and respect. This approach not only secures better outcomes, but also builds trust and credibility, two currencies more valuable than money in any leadership role. Another critical application is team development and organizational culture. Aristotle emphasized that human beings flourish in communities built on shared values and mutual respect. Modern leaders can apply this by cultivating teams where discipline, accountability, and collaboration are ingrained. Reward excellence, model ethical behavior, and create an environment where people feel both challenged and supported. In practice, this translates to higher productivity, greater innovation, and sustainable success. Decision-making at the strategic level also benefits from Aristotle's principles. Leaders must weigh not only immediate outcomes, but long-term impact. Should you invest in a risky innovation, expand into a new market, restructure your organization? Virtuous leaders evaluate options based on reasoned judgment, ethical considerations, and alignment with their vision. By doing so, they avoid impulsive moves and ensure that every choice advances both growth and integrity. Aristotle's wisdom also guides personal leadership discipline. Modern success requires energy management, focus, and continuous learning. Schedule deep work periods, reflect on decisions daily, and deliberately cultivate habits that enhance productivity. Leaders who practice this form of self-mastery are not just efficient, they inspire confidence, model excellence, and create opportunities for others to thrive. Let's consider a concrete example: a CEO navigating a corporate turnaround. The challenges are immense: financial pressure, employee morale, and market uncertainty. By applying Aristotle's virtues, courage, prudence, and temperance, the CEO can make balanced decisions, cutting costs without sacrificing culture, innovating without reckless risk, and communicating with transparency without over-promising. The result? A transformation that's sustainable, ethical, and highly effective. Aristotle also teaches that leadership is about seeing the bigger picture. Short-term success is meaningless without alignment to long-term purpose. Leaders who embody virtue recognize patterns, anticipate challenges, and leverage opportunities strategically. This is not luck. It is deliberate application of wisdom, virtue, and ethical reasoning, turning potential obstacles into breakthroughs. Finally, Aristotle reminds us that leadership is inherently influential. The actions, decisions, and mindset of a leader ripple outward. A leader grounded in virtue doesn't just manage. They elevate others, cultivate excellence, and create systems that sustain growth long after their direct involvement. This is the ultimate expression of success, transforming lives, organizations, and communities through principled action. By now you've seen the pathway Aristotle laid out: virtue, balance, discipline, deliberate action, and strategic leadership. But what does it look like when these principles are fully integrated into your life? This is the stage of mastery and transformation, where knowledge becomes action, habits become identity, and decisions shape not just your career, but your entire life. Mastery begins with self-mastery. Aristotle taught that the highest form of excellence is control over oneself, over impulses, distractions, and fears. In modern terms, this means consistently choosing actions that align with your values, maintaining focus in a world of endless distractions, and cultivating resilience when challenges arise. Each day becomes a deliberate practice of virtue, turning ordinary routines into extraordinary outcomes. Transformation is visible in results, but it's also internal. You become someone who doesn't just react to life, but directs it with purpose and clarity. Habits that once felt difficult, waking early, prioritizing meaningful work, saying no to what doesn't serve your growth, become second nature. Decision-making sharpens. Your mindset evolves from reactive to proactive. You begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles, and challenges become catalysts for growth. Consider leadership. A leader who embodies Aristotle's wisdom inspires not just respect, but loyalty, trust, and admiration. Teams respond to consistency, integrity, and strategic insight. Productivity increases naturally, because people follow someone who models excellence, balance, and ethical behavior. Your influence grows, not because of authority or title, but because virtue and strategy naturally command attention and respect. Aristotle also teaches that transformation is holistic. Success isn't just career achievement, it's personal fulfillment, meaningful relationships, and ethical alignment. The person who applies these principles experiences breakthroughs in all areas: mental clarity, emotional intelligence, physical discipline, and interpersonal connection. Every decision is infused with purpose. Every action reinforces growth. Life becomes a canvas for intentional excellence. Even setbacks transform under this mindset. Aristotle viewed obstacles as opportunities to practice virtue: courage in the face of fear, patience under pressure, temperance against excess. Modern life tests us constantly, but the person who integrates Aristotle's principles converts adversity into advantage, building resilience and strategic insight with every challenge. Let's picture the modern professional who has applied these principles fully. They wake with purpose, tackle their day with discipline, make decisions guided by virtue and strategy, and lead with integrity. They aren't just successful, they are transformative. Their personal growth creates a ripple effect. Teams flourish, partnerships thrive, and opportunities multiply. Every day is a step toward excellence, influence, and breakthrough results. And here's the ultimate insight. Aristotle's success method is not a one-time fix, it's a lifetime journey. Mastery doesn't mean perfection. It means consistent alignment with virtue, reflection, and action. It means turning philosophy into practical, visible, and impactful results, where your life becomes proof of what deliberate, ethical, and balanced action can achieve. So, what does this transformation look like for you? It looks like waking up each day with clarity, making decisions with confidence, leading with integrity, and building habits that compound into extraordinary personal and professional breakthroughs. It's a life where success and virtue coexist, where ambition is guided by wisdom, and where opportunity is recognized and seized at every turn. And in the final moments, remember this: the journey Aristotle outlines is timeless, but the results are immediate. Start small, stay consistent, act with integrity, and let each day reflect the balance, discipline, and excellence that create not just leaders, but legends in their own lives. If this video inspired you, subscribe to the channel for more insights from Aristotle. Turn on notifications so you never miss a video, and leave a comment sharing which principle you're going to apply first in your life. To dive deeper, check out related videos, one exploring Aristotle's timeless lessons on happiness, and another showing how Aristotle's principles can transform leadership and success today. Both are great ways to expand your understanding and see these teachings in action. Remember, knowledge only becomes power when you take action, practice virtue, and apply it consistently. Start today, keep growing, and let Aristotle's wisdom guide you toward breakthroughs in life, work, and leadership.